Alright, welcome to Bird Dog Music, everybody. Today, after the many videos I've posted already, I'm going to do an album ranking. I figured I'd start with my favorite band, Metallica. So here we go. Starting down at number 10, should be no shocker to absolutely anybody. Alright, Saint Anger. Now, a lot of people would say this album's a train wreck, which it's not, but it's still it can still get rough at sometimes. It's very repetitive verses and chorus. The snare sound, no solos, which is what really makes me mad, because Kirkage is my favorite guitar player, so... And just the lack of influence in James's lyrics are just it's so repetitive. Sometimes it can get boring to listen to, and I've always had this problem with it. I don't know if anybody else is, but the songs don't have a short break after they end. They just go right from one to another. It's kind of a headache. So all right, up to number 9. Wait, I'm playing the wrong album. Alright, shocker here. Reload, overload. Number 9 is Load. So, I've always enjoyed both of these albums a lot more than most people do, but I've always favored Reload. I like more of the faster pace in Reload. This one, there's quite a few slower paced songs such as Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, and Mama Said. Don't get me wrong, they're great songs, but some of the songs on the album are like Saint Anger. They can get repetitive, but they're sometimes loose. But all in all, this album's very decent and does not get the credit it deserves because it's a really good album. Number 8. Alright, number 8, Reload. Like I said, quite a few really good songs on this album. Fuel, one of my favorites. Memory Remains, a little bit overplayed, but I still think it's a pretty good song. And there's songs such as Slither, which are good songs, but definitely some of the worst Metallica songs. But you do have great parts in Carpe Diem Baby, such as but that riff is pretty nice. Just Where the Wild Things Are is my favorite song off that album. It's got that, it can almost have a ballad feel to it with having that energizing kind of pow to it. Now I might as well move on to number 7. Hardwired, not too much bad to say about this. Pretty much from here forth on, every album's pretty good, so especially when you get up to the top 3. And this is the newest one. Well, you count 72 seasons, but this is the newest one where all the music is released. Hardwired, absolutely amazing song, amazing opener. Atlas Rise almost could have been an opener, but I'm glad they stuck with Hardwired. Now That We're Dead is a good song. Off in the Flame, it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of got, the riff is very melodic almost. Whatever, but and then to kick into that to chugging to it, it's amazing musicianship how these guys can do stuff like that. Dream No More, probably the weakest off the album. It's still a good song, but I would, that's one I'd skip most of the time. But and then Halo on Fire, which is my favorite off the album. Well, that's nice. Am I Savage is a good song too. That is probably the most underrated Metallica song. Nobody likes it. I don't know why, but alright, now I'm to number 6. Death Magnetic. This was the first album I ever listened to as a Metallica fan. It was one of the first songs my mom listened to while she was pregnant with me too. So that's probably why, big influence why I like this album a lot. Great songs, Day That Never Comes, Broken, Beaten, Scarred. I've grown on that song a lot more. I always love listening to that. My Apocalypse with the great bridge riff. Kirk really brought it all out on that one, so this is an album I'd recommend checking out easily. On to number 5. Number 5, the Black Album. Definitely one that people would think would be up higher, but it's not because these next 4 are classics to thrash metal. This one definitely goes back to the mainstream sound of things, but still, I mean, you got classics like Enter Sandman, Sad But True, Nothing Else Matters. But the underrated song on this album is The Wolf of Man, my favorite off the album. It's just an impactful song. It's just heavy, you groove along with it, and I like Werewolves, so that gives a big influence on what I like too. Number 4, the debut album. Kill 'Em All. And I forgot I have the albums back here too. But I don't know if anybody can see that, but this was Metallica's debut, and man, this is probably the best debut thrash metal of all time, unless you consider Megadeth's, which we don't talk about Megadeth's debut album. I hate it. But Kill 'Em All, fast, thrashy riffs, definitely opened up to the genre of thrash metal, metal in general. Just, it influenced a lot of bands, and it's an influence to me too, but the top one is definitely the most influential, but I will give it Kill 'Em All that because it had some amazing riffs: Seek and Destroy, Metal Militia, Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire. I mean, everybody will say Dave wrote half the riffs on the album, but most of the riffs that were good riffs were James's. So number 3. And Justice for All, used to be my favorite album, or second favorite album. Kind of dropped down a bit, but you can't beat one on this album. I mean, amazing solo, an emotional song from James, and the machine gun riff. You can't beat that. Blackened, definitely another classic. And Justice for All, I feel like The Shortest Straw is kind of a little bit overrated, but it's still a good song. You got Harvester of Sorrow. To Live Is To Die was the last song Cliff ever wrote, but it ended up on an album after he died, which is even makes it even more of an emotional song too. So, number. Why do I keep turning on? Ride the Lightning. A lot of people put this at their favorite, but there's a couple more things at the number one spot. You would probably already know what it is. That put it over it. But Fade to Black, my third favorite Metallica song, For Home the Bell Tolls. I mean, they put effort into this album all the way. I mean, it went full-blown thrash to ballad to kind of thrash and then to an amazing instrumental at the end of the album. It's just, you can tell these guys enjoy what they do and will never stop. You could never stop doing what they do. Number one, you already know what it is, but. Master of Puppets. I don't even have to go into detail why this is probably the greatest metal album of all time, in my opinion. Just every song on this album is packed with amazing riffs, great vocal lines. Even the bass on this album is amazing. Lars, at the peak, almost at the peak of his drumming, but still, give the old man credit. Just, the only thing I never knew about this album is James recorded he double recorded himself, so Kirk did recorded rhythm in it, which kind of sucks for me, but I still like Kirk's solos in this. Battery, Master Puppets, which is my favorite Metallica song. Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Sanitarium. The list goes on for this album. Just such an influential metal album. And yes, this is better than Rust in Peace. Goodbye, everybody. Oh, my God.